the legit real UPSC statistics are this. This is from UPSC's 2024 report. If you're fresher for UPSC, the chances of you clearing the exam and getting to the ranks is somewhere around 7%. Whenever we read any topic, and for this webinar I've taken the topic of AQI, which is doing a lot of rounds in Delhi especially, and it will be in the newspaper for the next 2 months minimum. So these shiny points are important for those reasons, but they will attract your attention very quickly in the beginning. And if they do attract your attention, what they will take you away from are the fundamentals. When you want to understand this topic of air pollution in this larger ambit, in this larger macro idea of ki problem chal kya rahi hai. Now you're thinking like a bureaucrat. Write them. See if you can really execute, and then you talk to the mentor. And that is when you complete one micro loop, one learning loop. This is at the heart of your UPSC preparation.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily. Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
This webinar, the next 45 minutes, will get slightly heavy because what I'm going to give you is a study loop. Okay? And with that study loop, as I take you from basic to advanced to a ranker level understanding of any topic, I'll give you a formula structure. Things might get slightly more academic in terms of concepts. जब भी ऐसा लगे कि this is too much for a webinar and I'll maybe watch the recording या बाद में सुन लेंगे etc. Don't do that. Especially for the people who are going to attempt for the first time in 2027, let me tell you that the legit real UPSC statistics are this. This is from UPSC's 2024 report. If you're fresher for UPSC, the chances of you clearing the exam and getting to the ranks is somewhere around 7%. Okay. As you get better and more mature in the ecosystem, we see that, and these are official numbers, that your percentage increases. So if you are third attempter or a fourth attempter, then likely कि आप bulk of the exam जो clear करोगे वो जनता आप होगे, ठीक है? And this is not an year gap; it's purely a maturity gap, ठीक है? These are the things where you can learn right in your first year in the next 15 months, so that you increase your probability of getting into the first attempt itself. So things will get slightly heavy. Chat पे बता देना कुछ समझ में नहीं आए. But I want to give you a very honest and real understanding of what UPSC is all about. Okay? And that statistics जो मैंने दिखाया था ना यहाँ पे, which is this 50% of the people who write UPSC exams are freshers every year. वो नंबर आते आते जब रैंक निकालने पे होता है तो वो 7% हो जाता है, ठीक है? एंड बल्क ऑफ द नंबर जो लोग रैंक निकाल रहे हैं वो अपने सेकंड, थर्ड और फोर्थ और फिफ्थ अटेम्प्ट में निकाल रहे हैं. सो दिस इज द रियलिटी. और ये रियलिटी थी 2021 की. दिस रिपोर्ट इज फ्रॉम 2021. लास्ट ईयर all of us know that more than 50% of the top 100 rankers were repeaters, were people who've already gotten a rank or who were veterans with multiple attempts or people in state service. ठीक है, तो ये रियलिटी है हमारे सामने, and we'll not sway away from this reality. Okay? Now, with this reality intact, what we'll study today, before I give you the 15-month plan, before I give you the whole plan, and I'll break that plan down to weeks and months and the chunks with which you should be completing what all part of your syllabus, I want to take you through one simple unit of कि पढ़ाई होती कैसे है. ठीक है? Am I making sense to everyone? Right? Does the pace fine? आपको समझ में आ रहा है? The reality is in front of you. Whenever we read any topic, and for this webinar I've taken the topic of AQI, which is doing a lot of rounds in Delhi especially, and it will be in the newspaper for the next 2 months minimum. Okay. Whenever we take up any topic, be it current affairs, be it static, be it optional, anything, there are 3 broad parts of that topic. One is the boring facts and nouns, right? So if it is for AQI, it will be pollutants, it will be policies, it will be all the institutional boards जो सरकार ने बनाए होंगे. ठीक है? Proper nouns, facts, and slightly boring but very overwhelming. Second section of anything that we study is the shiny part, things which are outliers. Okay? New quote or a trend which is so amazing that it sticks to your brain, or some example given by a ranker which was his or her X factor example in the paper, right? Those are the shiny things which takes our attention, but they're not part of the main thing. They're not part of the boring main hardcore thing. But the quintessential and the crux of you mastering any subject or any topic is your understanding of the fundamental. And today, with the AQI topic, for the next 10 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes maximum, without making it heavy for you, I'll tell you exactly what happens when you study. And जितने भी लोग हैं यहाँ पे जो भी sincerely पढ़ रहे हैं यहाँ पे, let me know if this resonates with you, because that is what's going to confirm our collective bias. So the boring is basically facts and nouns. Okay, boring is like this, mapping the specific mandates of different kinds of boards जो pollution check कर रहे हैं. 8 pollutants in NAQI versus 12 in the NACS 2009 index. Evolution of the Air Act 1981 से लेके NACP 2019 and उसके targets. This is something which you will find a lot in almost every other notes that you pick up from the market or wherever you're studying from, right? And because our mind seeks for these solid data, सबसे पहले we gravitate towards this. It's on the face. And it is the thing which bores you out very quickly. मतलब, it has no juice. It has nothing to make you stay with the topic for long. But it's important. There is an importance for all this thing as well, because there have been direct questions which have been asked in mains and also in prelims. Okay, so we can't miss it, but we don't have to make this the first thing that we study about any topic. And you know, like I told you, right, there are these things. Now this text might not be visible to you. I'll share the deck with you, but they are background and evolution of the AQI index, introductions, where will you get the basic data. Most important reason why this thing is in news is because in the current phase, the whole debate around AQI is being shifted to health-centered governance. Okay, this is the part which is, I could say, static, or you know, something which you'll keep reading in newspapers, so much so that this will become a blind spot for you. The shiny part are what we call X factor pointers. Okay, the shiny part is what we train you once your fundamentals, your basics are done and you're almost there to write the mains exam or there to write the prelims exam. Then we tell you the outlier points कि यार ये मत miss कर देना, ठीक है? Yeah, there are some of these things which if you write in your introduction or conclusion, you will get extra half mark, extra 1 mark. So these shiny points are important for those reasons, but they will attract your attention very quickly in the beginning. And if they do attract your attention, what they will take you away from are the fundamentals. And to understand what fundamental is, क्या होता है fundamental किसी को समझने का, at Civilsdaily, our focus is like we go back to the PYQs. ठीक है, तो you all would know that we benchmark the syllabus on the microthemes. Basically, UPSC ने last 15 years में whatever they've asked, which have been the most recurring patterns, we take those headers, put all the questions under them, and then try to understand if it's talking about air pollution, what all dimensions has UPSC explored. That is the fundamental thing. To understand fundamental thing, थोड़ा सा exercise करते हैं. Basic exercise, which let's do together. How many of you can see this and tell me which among these questions are very direct, very basic, or you know, it's from the boring part. Mostly the question 1 and 2 are factual. Okay, question 1 and 2 are mostly banking on the facts. So you have to go back and study the boring aspects of anything. Be it यहाँ पे AQI है, अगर मैं environment protection पढ़ाऊंगा तो वहाँ पे उसके acts, you know, the draft, the 2009 और 2020 के जो draft में difference था, that question has been asked in UPSC verbatim. So you should know exactly what were the provisions in 2009 Act and 2020 draft, right? They can ask that directly. So in this, these are all the questions from the micro theme of air pollution. All the direct and indirect questions, okay? And these questions, as you can see, they span across the GS paper, right? That should give you the first hint as to how UPSC is going about asking things, okay? It's a factual question. You need to know this. You need to know the key features, okay? What do you understand by the phenomenon of temperature inversion? This is a pure technical geography question. It's important to understand Delhi में AQI क्यों create करते हैं और problems. There are 2-3 legit geographical facts and technical phenomena which you need to know to answer questions like this and this question also, okay? But the rest of the questions, they basically would want you to have understood this concept or this micro theme analytically, Okay? For the rest of the questions, you can't just look at the question and start writing down facts. You have to be able to interconnect things. Like for example, this question. Does the right to clean environment entail legal regulations on burning crackers during Diwali? Discuss in the light of Article 21. Now this question is actually a question, ऊपर से लगेगा, it's your freedom to whatever observe your religious practices versus someone else's freedom for right to life, right? That is the Article 21 reference. And it has a tangential inference to the Delhi pollution menace, right? So whatever are the observations of High Court or Supreme Court in with regards to the Delhi pollution, those observations can be put forth in the answer to this question directly, right? So, I mean, recently court ne ye bola, right? No religion wants to promote pollution, right? And your right to observe your religious practices is going against someone's right to live, especially the vulnerables, the elderly, the kids, and those people who do not have sufficient income that they can afford air purifiers, right? So this question directly takes you towards this intersectional ideas. ये समझ में आ रहा है, right? Am I making sense? You understand this question? You understand किधर किधर से inferences ले सकते हो to answer this question? So if you've read the AQI properly, if you've read the microtheme of air pollution properly, you will have enough data points and different dimensions to give it a richer answer. Okay. Now this is an ethics question. Achieving sustainable growth with emphasis on environmental protection could come into conflict with poor people's need, right? Just reflect on this point that poor people, that if state is not doing something methodically and it's taking ad hoc measures to curb any problem or issue because of the the larger population ka comment, then what those stopgap measures will do is they might hit at the vulnerable sections directly. Whenever that happens, these people are the people who will suffer. Okay? Because you have suddenly decided to align yourself with the environmental needs and you didn't plan it properly. So there will be enough data points. Your notes should have all these tensions, all these case studies where this has dimensions in it. अगर वो होंगे तो आप ethics का question भी लिख पाओगे ढंग से and you will be able to refer the Delhi AQI, the whole case study on Delhi AQI, right? This question, Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are 3 mega cities. Air pollution is a much more serious problem in Delhi, even though these are 3 mega cities. Why is this so? Now this question is completely on the technical side. If you end up writing in this question ki parali is getting burned, or the rice paddy is getting burned in Punjab, or there is a lot of vehicles in Delhi, or there is dust pollution in Delhi, it's contributing to 30% of the issue, you've missed the point. Because this question wants to understand your geographical understanding, and that is why this question is from GS paper 1. Okay? Which means if you want to understand a topic which is air pollution, and I have just given a moniker of AQI, you need to know the boring and the fundamental parts in depth. But most importantly, the fundamental elements. Now so broadly, this is how your understanding of a topic should look like. मतलब अगर अभी बैठे हो, and if you've understood what I've told you, then ideally you should be able to combine these 4 things. That something happened in our agriculture policy and we'll see what happened, because of which, plus the geographical constraints of regions like Delhi, because of these 2 things, we're not able to breathe, we're not able to breathe properly, and that is coming at cross with our health rights. Add to that, it's giving some ethical tensions around environment, around vulnerable people and whatnot. अब थोड़ा मजा आएगा आपको when you want to understand this topic of air pollution in this larger ambit, in this larger macro idea of ki problem chal kya rahi hai. Now you're thinking like a bureaucrat. So now if I go back in time, this is the part which is something which you will see in everyday newspaper, right? Everyday newspaper will give you more of the facts, more of the what happened, what policy happened, why it failed, etc., right? That will sometimes overwhelm you. If you have not aligned yourself to the fundamental understanding, ki what are the kind of PYQs they are asking, what is the question that they are asking, how does UPSC want me to think about a topic? Agar ye nahi pata hai na, then you will just be collecting facts with actually no idea ki wo finish line pe how will it be executed. And if you get distracted towards the shiny part early on in your preparation, then you will be collecting basically dopamine wale points, something which will give you kick, something which will be a trend and you've noted it down. But it will never help you build your fundamental understanding of arguments kaise banaye. ठीक है. Now the whole point early on in our studies should be that we should be able to identify the fundamental dimensions of a microtheme. You understand what I'm calling microtheme? Microthemes are basically those topics or those hot sectors which are repeatedly asked by UPSC in its mains or prelims paper. Okay, so there is a syllabus which UPSC has given in its announcement whenever it releases the forms, but it's slightly abstract. ढंग से समझ में नहीं आता. And then we went over the last 15 to 20 years of all the questions, and then we started bucketing those questions कि अच्छा it's asking from air pollution. There's a question of constitutional morality जो तो reference book में भी नहीं है, but it's asking the question on constitutional morality because आजकल current affairs में वो topic almost static ही हो गया है. ठीक है, तो fundamentals are very very important. ठीक है, but क्या करें, कैसे करें fundamentals का? तो as we realized that this is where we came. ठीक है, that finally if I am understanding air pollution, I should know what were the agricultural policies or changes in the agriculture policies because of which that parali is getting burned bloody every winters, right? Every winter we hear that that parali is burned and the smoke is coming to Delhi. Why can't they just stop it? Why can't the state of Delhi or the UT of Delhi just talk to Punjab that stop it because it's a menace to my population? Why can't we force center? We have so many agencies. Why can't it be done? Like, so you start thinking like a bureaucrat. क्या problem है? Because that is directly killing my health right. ठीक है, जो Article 21 पे अभी जो पूरा चल रहा है. Especially because of Delhi's geographical location, which we now know, all those temperature inversion, we are heat islands, we'll study the Bole effect abhi. So when we start thinking like this, then we'll ask the right questions from our mentors or from our teachers or from the book, or if you're studying on your own, those are the answers you will look for. So पहले तो geography का constraint समझते हैं, and I'll not go into the deep theory. ठीक है, I'm telling you how you should think. Geographically, we understood the concept कि in Delhi is a landlocked basin. ठीक है, this is, समझ लो, this is what Delhi is like. ठीक है, at one end we have Himalayas to the north, and then we have Aravalli ranges to the southwest. Okay, and so it gives you a certain kind of a bowl effect. तो अगर यहाँ पे in winter sunlight is above, यहाँ पे smog आ गया, तो whatever happens here it will get trapped. So if you're unlucky in a particular day, that pollution will descend and it will stay there. So this is the difference between Delhi, Mumbai and Kolkata. They do not have these terrains. This is the issue with us here in Delhi as we are living and breathing here. And so if a question asks you something on the technical lines, you should have known this concept, and then you need to use these jargon, these vocabulary, Bole effect, temperature inversion, heat island. जो आप पढ़ोगे, you'll realize, you will learn this as you grow. If you have question on polity, okay, if you have questions on, okay, why is state not able to interfere with another state's working? Then you will understand the friction between how institutions just don't work because something appeals to citizen in a common sense. It appeals to me in a common sense that, you should stop your stubble burning. But that is not the case. That's not how simple it is. So, and if you get to be in service, you will know that different states, basis their state subjects, they create policies which are good for their states, right? But they might be bad for the overall ecosystem. And we sometimes do not know it in the process while we are making the policy. We only learn it after one cycle of execution has happened. तो क्या हुआ, 2009 में there is a Punjab Preservation of Subsoil Water Act which was passed for good reason, that they had to preserve their water level. ठीक है, so they have to save the groundwater. So what they said कि that paddy sowing which happens somewhere in October, November, उसको आप थोड़ा और delay करो, so that water gets replenished. If you don't do that, your groundwater will get depleted faster, which makes sense for Punjab. But what happens now is, वो जो इससे पहले वाली फसल थी, which was the wheat, the rabi crop, it doesn't leave enough time for the farmers to actually harvest the wheat crop and then make the land fallow and then grow the paddy one. Okay, so what they do, they have to burn it. If they're just given 10 to 15 days, they are not going to do the manual labor of cutting it out and putting and disposing it properly, right? They will just burn it. That is how the incentives are aligned there. Now we can ask that, okay, dude, do not grow paddy, or use a variety or a variant of paddy which doesn't take so many days to That is to grow. That is another problem now, right? Our MSP incentives, जो भी जब हम एग्रीकल्चर पढ़ेंगे तो हम देखेंगे मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस के जो incentives हैं, they are aligned mostly for wheat and rice. So even though technically I might say let's diversify the crops, unless and until there is a policy change which happens at the center and at the Ministry of Agriculture level, people will not change their habits. These are the real reasons why that issue will continue to be so. Now, obviously, Delhi government spoke with the Punjab government, center spoke with the Punjab government, so they relaxed it for a few days, like they gave extra 15 days more, but it won't solve the problem. The problem is that the agricultural incentives for the crop of paddy rice are aligned in such a way that this will always happen. And that is why every year we see this issue. Okay, this is one of the component why pollution happens and we have bad AQI in Delhi. And if you understand this, and if you have read a little bit more of static, then you will talk and you'll know the issues and the cons of monoculture. Okay, so एक बार when you understand the fundamentals, you will be able to match it with different linkages. अब monoculture पे बात आएगी, you will remember this point and you can bring it there. Okay. Let's go to the health rights. Now let's go to the GS2. This everyone knows that we have a constitutional obligation under Article 21 to provide clean air. There are case laws which we can cite. But now as we understand this maturely, we try to map GS1 with AQI, GS2 with the AQI issue, and then GS4 as well. Okay. This is how you need to study a simple topic like air pollution. Okay. So we are 20 minutes into this webinar. And मैंने तुम्हें बस एक तरीका बताया how to ensure that you don't get bored by studying, because you have to complete a lot of microthemes. I'll tell you how many microthemes are there in the next 15 months that you're preparing for UPSC. This has to be your orientation. With this orientation, when we create content at Civilsdaily, read this note for students. So this is an article from the burning issue, which we release every month. It's part of the Samachar Manthan, the weekend current affairs program. So we have one big course called Ultimate Assessment Program, UAP, the mentorship course, which have all the ranks, rank 2, 48, 16, 22. This is how content is created for the students. So if you're reading the topic of clean air, and this text might not be clearly visible, but I'll give you the PDF. सबसे पहले we take you to the dimensions which you need to know. So the first dimensions, उसका मतलब कि these are the kind of questions that UPSC can ask from. This is how you should think about the topic. Before you get into the way forwards, the conclusions, the pros, the cons, the timelines, all the details, all the boring fact which I said, get yourself interested in the topic. Because if I get you interested in a topic, then your own research will also be good and your classrooms will be good and you'll retain things more. Because ऐसे करते करते कम से कम नहीं तो 400 current affairs topic हो जाते हैं, which you have to study over the next 1.5 years, right? And you need to retain most of them. So for right to clean air, dimensions would be how have we converted right to clean air as a fundamental constitutional obligation under Article 21. We need to know this. How come this topic has become such a big deal? It appeals to my common sense, but what have been the steps? What is now Supreme Court saying? Second question, why right to clean air must be framed as an imperative for equity and social justice rather just environmental compliance issue. Matlab, whenever people talk about right to clean air, it's not just about environment ko saaf rakhna hai. It's about social and economical equity. It's about larger people, the larger population which get impacted because this thing goes for a toss. जब आप ये पढ़ोगे कि how disproportionately is bad air impacting vulnerable groups, migrants to the city, laborers, old people, babies, kids, then you will understand, okay, government will have to make policy specific decisions for these vulnerable segments as well. When you realize that, then you will remember, okay, so now which authority, which nodal board or which execution agency is responsible for ensuring that the right kind of methods and measures are taken. Okay, that every other boring detail will now make logical sense to you because you understand the fundamental of हम कहाँ से आ रहे हैं. Okay. Similarly, so this is how you read this dimension. This is how we start thinking. Okay. And once you understand this, then you will start to ask commonsensical questions. Ki, okay, this makes sense. We have to take care of air quality and we have so many boards and we have an index. Up to we can measure also AQI is bad or good or whatever. Then, and we have so many boards, we have state board, we have central board, we have so many, in frameworks. Then why is still AQI bad? What is the issue with execution, right? So policy planning is one issue. Implementation is next issue. Feedback becomes the third issue. So अब तुम्हें सब logical लगेगा. I hope I'm making sense, right? You'll think like a babu, you'll think like a bureaucrat. And now when you're reading the news item, you will try to find out, oh, this op-ed or this news item is talking about a policy failure at the feedback level. So तुम यहाँ पे जैसे देखोगे कि this you can read that these CPCB, SPCBs, these are state pollution control boards, all these things, they simultaneously operate with no central authority. So there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of things, but there is no high chain of command. It's like there is no one manager. Everyone has their own manager and they're all reporting to the center. So it looks ridiculous to us as aspirants कि ऐसे भी हो सकता है, but well, that is how sometimes governance and policies work. And then we have to correct them. That is the reason why you are getting into the services. Then अब देखोगे इसकी elaboration में ना बहुत सारे issues are just lack of unified chain of command. We have all the boards, we have all the KPIs, but we just don't have one single thing where it rolls up to. And you will now go into the judicial doctrines. You will now go into the evolution. So this is all the boring part. But now you have the context of dimensions. Now you will go into all these things. And now when you come back to your PYQs, you will have much richer idea and much richer examples and much richer arguments to actually write good answers, which are ranker level answers. Okay, so of the 41 kids who are still here, but is this making sense? Did you understand the fundamental difference of studying in a systemic manner versus studying on an ad hoc manner daily? I want most of the people, and to whoever this doesn't make sense, if you think this is overwhelming, you can leave the webinar and go to places which are feeding you just normal crap, because that won't get you the rank. Because I told you, you have 7% chance if you're a fresher, because ye maturity na third attempt mein aage aati logo ko. Because what we did here in the first 30 minutes, and you should pat your back, is you've completed what we call at CD 1 micro loop. And this is the big deal. If your attention span stayed here for half an hour, pat yourself on the back, because we just completed one full micro loop. You know what we did? Let me recap what we all did together. We started with understanding clearly कि कोई भी टॉपिक के तीन एस्पेक्ट होंगे. वन इज द बोरिंग पार्ट विच यू विल सी एवरी डे, विच इज द डेटा, फैक्ट, policies, nuances, etc., historical, static part, whatever. There's nothing juicy out there unless there's a good articulate speaker or unless it's written nicely. So if you get bored every day, koi problem nahi, it's not your problem. It's the problem of the syllabus. Your focus has to be on this, not this. This can take your focus every day, because it will give you a false sense of doing something, collecting a data, underlining, something from the quotes which you will use in the answer. It will give you a false sense of growth, a false sense. Okay? This is the real thing, and this is hard. And this is hard because when you understand all the questions that have been asked directly or indirectly from the microtheme of air pollution, you will realize कि वो कितने dimensions तक जा चुका है. This is your first reality check. Okay? And this reality check, एक बार अगर तुमने ले लिया ना, you cannot go to the old ways of studying, because that way of studying is basically hit and trial. It's like, in the startup world एक phrase है, you throw spaghetti on the wall, या मैगी लेके दीवार पे फेंको और जो भी टिकता है और जो गिर गया वो गिर गया. It's haphazard. This is the system thinking. तो हमने सारे PYQs लिए और बैठ के समझे कि क्या क्या dimensions आ सकती हैं. Boring वाला important है, it's not something that you have to ignore, but maybe it's not the first thing that you need to master, because it will sap your energy, it will drain you out, it will drain your confidence out. Okay, 100%. मतलब chance ही नहीं है unless तुम I don't know, maybe some very hardcore technical professions, they have the ability to stay put with the boring. I have seen CAs. Are there any CAs here? Or medical professionals? They can study long hours on something which is very technical. They don't need stories. once you know this, then you understand that the fundamental thinking has to be something like this, that आप एक topic पढ़ो and sooner or later your maturity has to come at something like this level. ठीक है, तो मजा आएगा. Once you are at this level, then you start opening those dimensions. Okay, you will be given notes for these dimensions. You know, our X Factor notes, our burning issue magazines, our classes are around the dimensions only. Once you have the dimensions and then you go back, you know, then you read magazines like this. अब आप बड़े आराम से, now you will go properly in depth in all these things, because now you know the reason why this is important. You know the reason why you should know that why air quality governance in India is fragmented. You need to know what all judicial doctrines, what all things have happened. Polluter pay principle, precautionary principle, public trust doctrine. You need to know all these things because you will put them in some answer. Again, once that is done, then you come back to the PYQs and now you take a real feel. अब मुझे कितना आता है? How many points do I think I can write? And then you write them. Don't just think in your head. Don't give yourself a false hope. Write them. See if you can really execute. And then you talk to the mentor. And that is when you complete one micro loop, one learning loop. This is at the heart of your UPSC preparation. ये है वो चीज जो तुम्हें हर थीम के लिए करनी है, और जितनी थीम्स के लिए आप कर पाओगे वो थीम्स आपकी सॉलिड हो जाएंगी. ठीक है. Micro loops are derived from micro themes, which I talked about, and micro loops have these dimensions. You look at the PYQs. If you're able to solve 80% of the PYQs with correct accuracy, then you're done. You're good in that theme. It's a plus for you. It's a positive for you. कुछ नहीं पढ़ना तुम्हें इसके लिए. अगर नहीं हो रहा है, then you look at the micro theme, understand the dimensions and difficulty in that dimension. कौन सी dimension is easy for you to understand? कौन सी dimension is you've not even thought of it कि ऐसे भी सवाल आ सकते हैं. Then you go and you download, and if you're part of the course, part of the UAP, you go read X Factor notes, you go read flash notes for prelims or burning issue magazine, which comes every month end, and you see what all tables and blocks of content is given there, because wo sub content is given there because questions have been either asked on them or questions will probably be asked in future. Ye kar liya, go back to the PYQs, write the mocks, see how many questions you can solve. And then last thing is, once you are mature, और क्या पूछ सकता है UPSC? Then you start predicting what else can be asked. That simple. एक बार, you know, this is the only way to comprehensively complete UPSC syllabus in a way that you can ensure that you will get a rank. Okay. I hope this makes sense for everyone. Bonus. अगर ऐसे पढ़ लिया ना, if you get into the habit of reading, of looking at content like this, of even if you're watching random YouTube videos, you should be able to speed fast, come to the point where that actor is, or you know, whatever teacher is saying the thing. The moment you get into this framework, the moment you have this perspective and let a few months pass, tab even if they're heavy op-eds written by, you know, whoever in the world, you will be able to selectively get the right point out of it. So for example, this is the op-ed. Express view on India Gate protest, right? I hope you guys know, right? There was an India Gate protest in Delhi. उसका सिर्फ एक opinion निकलता है, which is that the citizens of Delhi were saying that you have to take air quality and this issue as critically as you're taking inflation or unemployment. Okay? Because static तो आपने पढ़ा हुआ है, बाकी everything you know. इनमें से तुमको एक X factor pointer मिल जाएगा. This is the shiny thing, by the way. So something like this you can write in your introduction or in your conclusion. So you will note this shiny thing and हटा दोगे. You will not read the whole op-ed because now you know मेरे को क्या देखना है. This op-ed is again from Indian Express. Supreme Court pulls up the center. Every citizen has the right to environment free of pollution. And when Supreme Court, and when in this op-ed they write that just like laws like EPA became toothless due to executive inaction, they do not want to see that happening with the air quality. It's a big deal, right? People are, now you will be able to take this single point, put it down in your one pager, put it down in your notebook or on the side of it. That Supreme Court compared the problem of air quality in Delhi with that of EPA, you know, because policy सही बन गई थी, norms वॉर्म सब सही हैं, but उसका executive inaction देखने को मिला, and then everything fails, then the system fails. It is equivalent to you coming to this webinar, and I hope you're understanding what I'm saying, but you go back and you start following your old ways of studying, hoping that In your head you got the dopamine kick, in your head you got that kick कि मैं कर ही लूँगा ऐसे, but you don't follow it up tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And ये होता ही होगा, ऐसा होता है. तो जो भी तुम में से उसको अरेस्ट कर लेगा ना, that person will increase his or her probability of getting the rank. As simple. These things are as simple. Okay. Third, this is an op-ed from Hindu. Why India struggles to clear its air. And इसका जो main issue है वो ये कि because responsibility is scattered. You know, we studied here, right? Why is air quality governance in India fragmented? And that was from one of the op-eds. Because there are so many agencies, but there is no single institution holding the full authority or accountability. Now life will start appearing commonsensical to you. Okay? And this, like I said, is a bonus for you. Newspapers and current affairs will not overwhelm you. And at CD, we don't even recommend you to read newspapers every day. We recommend that weekend पे आओ या हर एक हफ्ते के end में आओ, समाचार मंथन क्लास में आओ. We'll teach you whatever is important and that's it. That's all you need to know. But this is how you increase your muscle memory. Cool. अभी तक समझ में आया? Are you in for strategy now? All this was how you have to pace your padai. Your everyday should look like this or whatever. Your 2-3 days blocks should look like this. I hope this was insightful. I hope this gave you a way to actually look at how you have been studying. Actually, you can now go and relook at your notes. You can, if you've joined some random coaching or institutions, you can go and look at what they are teaching and why they are teaching like that, right? Because what we have seen, what I have seen is that we wait a lot of time, like we spend a lot of time just to get the kick of कि जो मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ, is it going to get me a rank or not? I am giving you that kick today in this webinar. This is the micro loop. If you're able to complete the micro loop, you're on a good path. You will get the rank, or you will have, a higher probability of getting the rank. So here we are in December. If you're preparing for 2027, I'll quickly tell you what lies ahead. Till next February, your big 4 subjects should be done. NCRTs and the basic reference books should be done. Whoever, by the way, here has joined any coaching and you felt that you wasted your time, ping us on the WhatsApp and we'll see how much money you've spent there and we'll try to give you a scholarship so that you don't just leak more money and we'll get you in the system. But system ऐसे ही चलता है, ठीक है? तो इतना ही rigor होगा. Because I'll show you subsequently, there is no breathing space. हमको लगता है 1.5 साल बहुत, मतलब 15 महीने is a lot of time. I'll actually show you in subsequent slides. It's not. You have to have this level of rigor and you can't leave it aside. Anyway, big 4 पता है ना अपने कौन से हैं big 4? The first 4 subjects that you try to master in UPSC prep: polity, geography, economic and history. That's it. That's the big 4. You need to master them first so that you get into like the vibe of UPSC. कुछ static आता रहे तुम्हारे को idea. You don't need to know enviro, you do not need to know society, you don't need to know all those other international affairs, nothing like that. Just these 4. These you need to know from NCRT and core books. उसके बाद आता है, and we don't teach optional here in CD yet. उसके बाद phase 2 आता है when you pick up an optional. Now, I would recommend that one way of picking up your optional is as you read through the news, unless you are from that background, then you pick up that background. But as you are building your capacity, as you are thinking this fundamentally, you will start to understand that मुझको ना social issues में interest आता है. Then sociology is for you there, right? You'll start to understand your inclination. So your picking up optional has to be based on 3 parameters. One, your undergraduate subject, if you can take that, and if it gets marks in UPSC, great. Second is what is getting marks and what is your inclination. That's the second and third point. तो उसको match करके pick up an optional and then stay put with that. Then April to May before prelims of 26, which you might not give, this is where you ensure that whatever subjects you've done, micro thematic level पे तुम उसमें advanced questions ढंग से answer कर पा रहे हो at the level that I just showed you. Okay. Then there will be a prelims reality check. You might not be writing the prelims, but you will know from your own studies where do you stand with respect to the prelims which your seniors, let's say, will be giving. उसके बाद आता है second year. So first day is all about understanding the depth. Second day is all about assessments. Because UPSC is an exam which is not like PhD. It's not like you have to become a teacher. You have to bloody put your knowledge on the execution paper. Every week you have to do that. So every week we have mocks. Every week we have Samachar Manthan classes and we give you 5 questions to write answers on, and they are checked and they are discussed with your mentor, and every week you have to get better, right? So this is how you then progress. Then right now is a time where 2026 students are having their smash PYQ classes. We take all the PYQs from the last 10 years and we solve them live with you. Live with you every alternate day. So for the next 3 months, from somewhere around, इधर अक्टूबर से लेके जैन एंड तक फुल ऑन मेंस प्रिपरेशन. ओके, उसके बाद जनवरी एंड से लेके मई यहाँ तुम प्रीलिम्स दे रहे होगे, यहाँ इज हार्डकोर प्रीलिम्स स्टफ. ठीक है, दिस इज बेसिक टाइमलाइंस, कुछ में कुछ रॉकेट साइंस नहीं है. आई विल टेल यू व्हाट रॉकेट साइंस लुक्स लाइक. सौम्या रावत इज आवर स्टूडेंट हु attempted and got through mains in the very first attempt. Okay, so I told you, right, kitna mushkil hai. You have like 7% probability of getting through your mains if you're a fresher, getting a rank if you're a fresher. Soumya, first attempt, she is giving an interview now as we are having this webinar, and this is what her mentorship report card looks like. So she joined us March, थोड़ा सा late. She joined us like, मतलब समझ लो अगर तुम मार्च में हमको ज्वाइन करते हो. But every week we have mentor calls. Every week she has to attempt tests because she joined us slightly late. And every week those tests gets discussed in either an online session or a call. Interventions are noted. She's under UAP. Okay. And she maintained her streak. So we know exactly where she's going every week. We know where she's, if she has a break, if there's a family function, that will be mentioned there. Okay. Now I'll show you the answers which she's been writing. This is the answer which she wrote in the starting, right? Like when she started, this was week 4 July test. This is the first question that she wrote and the answer was. Now understand, if you have to understand an aspirant's evolution, this answer has all the factual aspects. Okay? All fact. It's a question on green revolution, so full background of green revolution is given, which you might also be able to give, right? So आपने भी स्टैटिक तो पूरा पढ़ रखा है, तो आप इंट्रोडक्शन में स्टैटिक ही लिख के आ जाते हो. It's a bad thing, but well, good for you if you're starting it out with us, right? And then objectives, it's a basic textbook answer, which might not fetch you a lot of marks in the mains exam, actual mains, but it's a great answer to begin with. Good handwriting, all factual points. And when you keep writing these with us week after week, this is Soumya again, and this is what your evolution looks like. So a question was, why has India become increasingly import dependent for edible oils despite being a major agriculture economy? Now this is where you have to introduce with the data or a trend. This is that shiny thing जो मैंने बताया था ना, where are the shiny points? These are data or trends which are outliers, which you have to put here. Then you have to put the reasons for oil dependence on import, and you have to quickly put your reasons across dimensions. Next question, air accidents are low frequency but high impact events. Now Soumya was so mature that now she can draw a flow chart very quickly, that what is the protocol structure looks like, what is the fundamental backend issue because of which these things happen. Ye evolution is what you have to register for yourself. All of you guys, as you progress with your padhai likhai, this is the evolution that you have to hit. And this evolution does not happen in just 1 month, 2 month or 3 month time. You have to keep up at it. देख रहे होगे तुम कि राइटिंग में भी थोड़ा बहुत, पहले कितनी अच्छी राइटिंग थी और अब थोड़ी राइटिंग थोड़ी रैंडम हो गई, बिकॉज नाउ इट्स ऑल माइंड, राइट? इट्स द फ्रेंजी, इट्स द एंजाइटी ऑफ गेटिंग एज मेनी पॉइंट्स एज यू कैन इन द पेपर which are relevant to that theme demand. I'm not taking you deep dive into the means answer writing, etc. I'm just trying to show you that what does an evolution look like. So ये जो महीने हैं ना, इसका evolution ये होता है. ये स्लाइड छोड़ो, ये रैंकर की कॉपीज हैं. I'll take you now to why you do not have as much time as you think you have. Normal people who take up the UPSC syllabus, which you can find on their official website, it's slightly more abstract. Okay, it's abstract like this. Wait, I've not shown you that. And it will give you nothing tangible. It will not tell you what are the topics which were asked last year, what are topics which were asked last 3 years, which are the most important topics, right? So when we did the microthematic analysis, We realized after doing 15 years of PYQ understanding, after understanding all the static and current linkages, we realized that there are 288 microthemes across prelims and mains. And that is all that you need to master. 288 microthemes मतलब microthemes are those topics जिसमें से 2 से ज़्यादा सवाल पूछे गए हैं. 2 or more questions have been asked from these microthemes. That means you need to know them. Now you can prioritize according to your appetite. You can say, hey, I want to prioritize those microthemes which have 5 or more questions. Then they will come slightly down. But मोटा मोटा साल में 365 दिन होते ना, तो समझ लो मोटा मोटा एक दिन में एक माइक्रोथीम कंप्लीट करनी है. कुछ माइक्रोथीम्स बड़ी होंगी, दे विल स्पिल ओवर, एंड फिर रिवाइज भी करना है, फिर उस लेवल पे डायमेंशन एनालिसिस फंडामेंटल भी करनी है. तो योर टाइट, योर शेड्यूल शुड बी वेरी वेरी टाइट. इनमें से there are 177 microthemes which are purely mains. There are 111 microthemes which are purely prelims. Okay, and there are 37 common microthemes, right? Acha, actually microthemes are 288 are those with 3 or more questions, not 2. So we've already taken a filter for you. So you don't have to waste a lot of your time. 228 microtheme hai, and they are spread across the topics like this. So you will see some of the microthemes are main specific only. Internal security will have no questions from prelims. These are prelims question count. These are mains question counts. Internal security has 11. This has 11 microthemes under it. Okay. And they are spread across topics, which some are relevant for mains, some are not relevant for mains, right? And when you start working on them day by day, जैसे मैंने भी micro loop दिखाया था, this is मोटा मोटा how your daily calendar should look like for yourself. So like I said, pick up a micro theme. सबसे पहले you will do an accuracy check. If you score above 80%, that micro theme is done. You do not have to spend more time on it. Out of those 288 micro themes, cross this out. If it's not, then you go back and you do the dimension analysis, the fundamental analysis that we did, right? That fundamental analysis you will get you to understand what are the hard ones, what are the easy ones for you. ठीक है, that will give you a sense of कितना तुम्हारा already momentum आ रहा है UPSC में, कितना तुम्हें और मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. Once you're done with that, then you read either flash notes, यहाँ पे prelims micro theme की बात है, or you read X factor notes, or you need BI. क्यों पढ़ना है इसको? Because you might have realized that some of the questions, some of the dimensions which are being asked in the exams are not there in reference books, are not there in core books, are not even there in your notes. But now you understand you need the content for that. That's non-negotiable. So that content is available in flash notes, X factor notes, or BI, Burning Issue magazine. Once you're done with that, आप वापस आओ, आप अपने additional 1-pager notes दोबारा बनाओ, वो dimensions को add करो, make them your own. Don't just read notes and underline them. You have to make your own 1-pager notes eventually. No passive reading alone. Once you're done with that, then you attempt the questions again. Now you can attempt the PYQs or you can attempt the mocks, the tests we have on the portal. Go back and see again if you're hitting this accuracy level. If you're hitting it, amazing, that micro theme is done. If you're not hitting it, then start the thing again. This is a micro loop. Depending upon your phase of growth, this is what you will have to make for each micro theme, especially the important ones. Some of the micro themes might just be very easy for you, or might just have 3 questions, so उसमें इतनी dimensions ही नहीं है, ठीक है? Then you'll have to bank upon us कि whatever Chinmay or who is here listening अभी तक, Deepak, Devansh. This is more important. इसमें से सवाल नहीं आया, but इसमें आ सकता है, right? This is the whole UPSC preparation, ठीक है? You keep doing this. You will get the calendar by mentor. Every mentor will actually make this for you. I have not taken you through it properly, but देखो, sometimes student was feeling demotivated due to illness, overthinking and burden of syllabus completion. So there are therapy calls sometimes we have, and we log it. Every mentor has to log all what happens in the call, so that we as founders, we have an insight into कहाँ फंस रहे हो, क्या चाहिए तुम्हें, content नहीं समझ में आ रहा है क्या, सवाल नहीं लग रहे हैं क्या, is it even worth it for you to go and perfect this topic, या छोड़ सकते हो, cost benefit analysis, all those things we're able to do only when we have this logging. Busy with system marriage preparation, feeling restless due to wasting of time. These are all human issues, right? We factor everything. week on week. Attempted ethics test, discussed doubts, score was 50, not a good score. So we discussed doubts, everything is tagged. Cool. This is it. This is what we do, what we have been doing for years now, and we've perfected this. This is what Civilsdaily is known for, a systemic approach towards cracking the exam in your first attempt or maximum second attempt. All these people that you see, Animesh, first attempt, working professional, straight out of college, cleared in the first attempt while he was working. Pavan Datta was a medico. He, I think, did one self-study attempt and then he joined us, and that same year he cleared the exam. Aditya Pandey, 2 attempts he gave on his own. He was an IIT Roorkee MBA, 2 attempts khud se diye. He was doing a job at ICICI in Bombay, and then he left, and then here we are. First attempt, he cleared the rank 48.